I am Isaac Quinn, local he, they. I make theatre. I do everything. I write, I direct, I perform, I produce, I do sound, I do costumes, as in I buy clothes and I wear them. I do set design, as in like I got a chair from Asda and I built it myself. Like I'm Butch, like I can build furniture. And yeah, I just really love theatre and I want to do it as much as I can. I started writing this show in March, end of March, beginning of April. I got picked up by On Green Theatre's Acorns Programme. Shout out Letterkenny, shout out Donegal, because I'm a cross-border artist. Thank you very much. And I got commissioned to write this play, and I've always had the idea of it simmering in my head ever since I was actively experiencing psychosis. And in the process of letting the idea gestate and grow and become something worth writing, it has completely left who I am. This is something that I want to make very clear online and in the world. This is not an autobiographical play. This is not about me. This is inspired by feelings that I had and inspired by some places I went or some just things that I felt. This is just a manifestation of emotion, and it's lies. It took me about a month to get the first draft, and I love to edit so much. So editing it down was really fun. It was really nice. And the first draft was 90 pages long. Now we're at 30. That gives you an idea of how much that I write to begin with. It just came very easily to me once I was able to sit down and do it. And it took me a while. I'm someone, I need to gestate in an idea. I need to talk it out. I need to walk around a room and talk to myself. I've done this show twice before now for Letterkenny Pride and Foyle Pride. They were very, very kind in letting me come and perform for them because I just asked nicely and they said yes. And it just felt so good to be there and do the show. I was really nervous coming up to actually doing it. But then the second I was on stage and I was about to speak, I just had this overwhelming sense of, oh my god, I'm doing it. And that just carried me through the whole thing because the show is so many aspects of theatre that I love being put together into something weird and strange and genre defying. From those first performances, I've done some editing, cut it down, playing with it, being in the space, figuring out how to move my body and how to perform it to the best of my ability. It's very much I'm throwing myself to the wolves willingly. I would love to have people come and see the show and tell me what they like about it and what they don't like about it. I love theater criticism. Maybe, do it in a nice way because I'm a nice guy, but this show is still developing. It's still cooking. So you're seeing something exclusive that, maybe some people won't see the things that you're going to see. That's exciting. My beautiful show is called Retardant, and when I told my parents that was what I was naming the show, my dad laughed and said, "Oh, that sounds like something else," and I said, "Yes, father, that's the point." Retardant all came about because it started back in 2018. I was a very big fan of this show called Skam. It was a Norwegian web series that it aired in Norway on TV, but over here we only got it on Google Drive and Vimeo. We were sneaking it around, subtitling it ourselves. I was too young to be involved in the community, but I was there, I was watching. And that show had many international remakes in France and Italy. We don't talk about the Italian one, but Dutch and one in Texas, many different ones. So I thought, what if I did my own with these original characters I've made with my friends? My friends online on Discord, and so I made that version of Scum called Scum Brighton, and I wrote that show for 3 years. But I care so deeply about that show and the characters and the plots that I made, because while it is an adaptation, I would say a good 80% of it is original. It is just very loosely based and inspired by, and correcting the mistakes, all the lesbophobia, the racism, the transphobia. I was well, little me, 14-year-old me, I'll fix it. And it did really well. It inspired other people to write their own remakes. It has been Scott Brighton has been used in a university essay. People have made mood boards and playlists about the show, which is crazy to me. But that finished in 2021 and then 3 months later I started working in the theater professionally. So it was a very quick trade-off kind of thing. And so then I was working in the theatre and I moved to Belfast because that's where theatre is in Northern Ireland. And when I got here, I was not doing well already. I was already not doing well. Belfast made everything so much worse. No offense. I was actively in psychosis before I moved, and the entire time I was living in Belfast, all those 6 months, in a psychotic episode. Not good, not well. So eventually I was doing so badly that I had to move home, and I needed to, like, go see doctors and get better. And I have, which is great. But the entire time I was thinking, I need to make something of this. I wanted to make a show that was about, like, this psychosis and how psychosis actually feels. Because so many people think it's either, like, or it's just, like, but it's like, it can be those things. I don't want to erase that. But I'm saying that psychosis is a complex thing, and it's a lot more common than you would think. Psychosis can happen if you don't sleep enough. It can happen to literally anyone at any given point. Some people are more susceptible to it, like me, but that's because I'm special and I'm beautiful and everyone loves me. This show is very angry. It's fun, but it's very angry. It is about wanting autonomy in every aspect of things. It is about being neurodivergent and, disabled, and, like, being mentally disabled. A lot of people don't like using that verbiage. I do, because I am mentally disabled. I am autistic. I was diagnosed when I was, like, 11. It made me so happy. Every other person I've talked to, when they realized that they were autistic, they were like, oh, I may be, like, really sad, or I was really angry, or I was really confused. The second I was told that I was autistic, I was literally jumping for joy. Like, yeah, there's aspects of it that suck, but, like, there's aspects of everything that suck. Like, autism is so beautiful to me because it's the way I see the world, and I love it. And I wanted to write a show that is so autistic, and so from a specifically autistic point of view, and of that loneliness that comes from it. Because, like, even with, like, I have friends that are also autistic, and, like, I feel very isolated from them. I have to live at home with my parents because I need full-time care. That's a fact. That's just my life. I love being autistic. This show is a love letter to being autistic and to all of the aspects of it. And it's a love letter to being psychotic. Because yes, psychosis is an illness, and it is a symptom, and it is something that is very damaging and very painful to experience. But there's also a lot of beauty in there. I've never been in touch with reality. That's why I'm so theatrical. That's why I work in theater. Because I don't exist in the real world. The only thing that makes sense to me is the stage. Being transgender it's so important to me, first of all. Again, like with autism, it wasn't that, like, I found out that I was trans, it's that I found out I was allowed to be trans through watching, an episode of Glee and reading, I hate to say it, Hamilton fanfiction. That is how I realized I was trans, and I won't be ashamed of that. Telling trans stories is so important to me. Like, it is a big reason why I wrote Scumbrighton and why I wrote the things that I do, which is that I want to tell trans stories that aren't just coming out and aren't just being killed and being in pain. Like, all those things are very important, and stories that do need to be told. And I love those stories. A lot of them were very important to me, and still are. I love trans art. It is the majority of what I consume, and I try to, because I love my brothers and my sisters and my siblings. And telling trans stories for me they are the only stories I can tell. Yes, I could tell cisgender stories, and I could tell other stories, but I don't want to. I love transgenderness so much. It is so beautiful to me that we get to create ourselves, that we get to choose. Like, it is, like, a complete autonomy of just, like, playing. For me, gender is all about playing and having fun with it, because it's all fake. We're all just having fun and playing. And gender is theater. All gender is drag. That is something I deeply believe. We are all constantly doing drag, me especially. I love my little gender performance. But gender is performing. And another aspect of that is a lot of being autistic is performing. Masking is performing to me. Like, a lot of the times when I'm describing how I mask is I'm like, oh, I'm doing my stand-up, or like, I'm doing this, I'm being this character. I am playing Isaac Quinn, who is this, and doing this. These are the scripts, these are what we're doing. And so then when I'm actually performing, I get to relax, and I don't mask as much when I'm performing, because that is more authentic than me existing in the real world, which is also psychosis and themes, and it all comes together. But telling these stories, it's very important because I want people to feel seen. And I do feel seen by like a lot of trans stories and a lot of like queer stories in general. But I want a story where it's just like, oh yeah, and we're trans. And being trans matters. It's not just, oh, a little coincidence. It's like, being trans is a part of this. It isn't everything, but it colors everything, and it's so important. And this show is so transgender. It's about exploring different aspects of gender and gender presentation. It's about the struggles of trans healthcare, we all know, and like the intersectionality of trans healthcare, mental health care, and how those do not like each other very much. Not at all. And it's also about like trans friendships and trans community, because like all of my friends are trans. And if they're not trans, they're at least non-binary with it, you know what I mean? But it's so important to me that it's like we're talking about each other. Like, this is a show about like there's T for T romance, there's T for T sex if you're nasty, and it's just like the full breadth of the human experience with the lens of being trans and with the lens of being autistic and with the lens of being psychotic. And it's a lot of things that are like hyper specific, but about something that is completely universal, because we have all left home for the first time. We've all like messed things up. We've all like slept with someone we shouldn't have. It's specificity that is so wide, and wideness that is so specific. I am such a musical theater guy. It's one of the first things I have to tell people because it colors the way that I exist in the world. I love musical theater. There is not a day where I'm not listening, studying. Like, I read, like, I have so many books about like musical theater history and development because it is the world to me. It is how things make sense. And I mean, I love like Stephen Sondheim, obviously, we all love him. Like William Finn, Janine Tesori, Michael R. Jackson, John Cameron Mitchell, The Absolute Girls, and like Kate Kerrigan and Brie Loudermilk. Like, I'm a Kerrigan and Loudermilk stan. Their cabaret songs are so important to me. And even just like, there's a lot of like, music is used throughout the show because music is very much how I perceive the world. And I think that's a good way to portray dissociation and psychosis. And it's a way for me to memorize things because I memorize things through speaking and listening. And so when I hear a song, I'm like, oh yes, this song is about this, which connects to this and this and this and this. And because everything is deeply connected, because I'm someone who loves to reference. I love an Easter egg. I love to make it all a big ball of my soul. And so there's songs from like Hedwig and the Angry Inch, Next to Normal, Vera Pop Opera, Spring Awakening. Those are my like big four of shows. So like, if you watch those, you will know who I am, basically. And there's like so much in there. There's even just like things that I say are references to shows. Like there's little like, I do a little High School Musical dance sequence because I love High School Musical so embarrassingly much. In terms of like other inspirations writerly, teen dramas are such a big thing for me. As I mentioned, this was inspired by my Scum adaptation that is renamed to Skivvies so I don't get sued. And so the two big things for Skivvies was Scum and Skins. Hence the Sk. Continuing, we see the theme. Skins is a diabolical show. I love it so deeply. There's so many problems with it. And that's why I love it. Because oh, it's so delicious to me. And it's so authentic and real, the same way Scum is with like the young actors and the things. Another show, again, with like these younger actors that I've been watching is Degrassi. I'm on season 11 right now, watching it for the first time. They introduced a transgender, huge for me. There's also bipolars, huge for me. And they're doing plays and they're having fun. And it really grounds me, the melodrama of it all. Speaking of melodrama, Glee. Glee is so important to me. There is multiple Glee references in the piece. Of course, I love Glee. And if you come see the show, maybe there's a Glee cast recording version of a song that plays before I come on stage. Can you guess what it is? But speaking of cast recordings that are in the pre-show playlist, Riverdale. I believe Riverdale is the best show ever. Of course there are flaws. There are flaws with everything. Riverdale is genuinely, and I'm not being ironic. People think I say this as a joke. I am being serious. Riverdale is brilliant television. It is about what is a story, what is censorship, comic books, teen dramas, America, what does Archie comics mean, what does it mean to be a man, what does it mean to be a woman, what does it mean to be queer. It is such a queer show. Genuinely, most of the cast are bisexual by the end of it. There's a polycule, it ends with a polycule. What can you be mad about if it ends with a polycule? Yay, television. I love shows that make me say yay. I love TV that just makes me feel excited. because I get excited about a lot of things because I'm autistic, and this show is about autism, so I'm putting in all the things I'm autistic about. Like music as well. As you may tell by the fact I'm wearing friendship bracelets and by the fact that I am white, I enjoy Taylor Swift's music. I'm sorry, I hate to say it. She is so fascinating to me as a subject. As a person, yes, she's like deeply morally bankrupt. She has so many issues. She is so capitalistic. She is to me what World War II is to people's dads. You know what I mean? Like, it's so fascinating. And the big album for this show is So Speak Now. It's so deep into that. But other music inspirations, like we have Alanis Morissette, we have Olivia Rodrigo, we have Janet Jackson, we have Lorde, we have... Do we have any men? The other inspirations, horror movies. Like, the show is very horror inspired because I really love horror, and I always have. A big one is American Psycho. I saw American Psycho for the first time this year. I was week 3 in an awful illness where I couldn't talk, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I could barely do anything. And so I watched American Psycho, and I just had this moment of just being like, I have to accept the fact that I deeply relate to this man. The way his psychosis is portrayed in the film is so authentic to me, and it rings so true. And the way he just so deeply doesn't care, and he can say anything, but it doesn't matter because no one actually hears what he's doing. Like, that felt so authentic to me and so real, and it came from a really raw place. And I really deeply enjoyed it. And it's another case of the fact that, like, everything made by lesbians is better, and I stand by that. And, like, I could talk forever about it because everything is connected to something else. I mean, ideally we want to get Retardant touring the Fringe circuit. We want to get it out there, anywhere that'll take us, please. Hi, I'm very nice. I don't cost a lot. Let me in. But I'm currently working on my next show with Tinderbox's Engine program. The next show I'm doing, it's called Good Boy, Good Man. It's about masculinity and manhood and transness. Yeah, just working on a bunch of different things, like developing the show, learning how to produce. I'm also part of the Young Curators program with Laughter Festival, which is this really awesome program which is about like producing a arts festival for a bunch of young people, figuring it out, like producing and what they like to do with it. So I'll be doing that next year, which is very exciting. You can find me wherever you're looking at isaacquinn.mp3, and for the show you can find it at retardant.play on the Instagram. I don't really use social media because I don't really understand it. My actual social media is a Tumblr account. I love Tumblr so much, it is my favorite social media. And my Tumblr username is hidden in my show. If you can find it and follow me, well, that's a gift. You get to follow me. Well done.